Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first heroic super guide of the new year of 2018. We are going to look at how to defeat Skelesaurus Hex from League of Explorers in heroic mode with every single class and even a deck of basic and common cards only. Skelesaurus Hex, I hate. There is just so much RNG involved. His hero power is crazy, and there'll just be tons of games you lose on turn 1 or 2 because he gets a free huge minion and you're just screwed. And there'll be a ton of games you lose because you manage to fight back and get ahead on board after these crazy things. You're finally getting in control, and he just, luckily gets a 0-mana Twisting Nether or a 0-mana Flame Strike and devastates your board. So there's just so much RNG where he can get something overpowered for free or the perfect thing to counter your board state where you'll just lose and lose and lose. But eventually, when you get lucky and his free cards are not super powerful, you can execute your game plan. Now, for most of the decks, you're just kind of doing any normal game plan that works for that class, whether it's an aggressive deck or a control deck. There is a package that I put into most of my decks, which is Saboteurs to make his hero power cost extra. Either that he can't use it, or make it cost a full 5 mana. So, and if you're lucky and, he draws a crappy 0-mana card, like a Wisp or something, he essentially sent 5 mana and a whole turn on that. That can really help you get ahead tempo-wise. Khazan Mystics and Eater of Secrets as well form the 6-card package because a lot of the cards in his deck are Hunter Secrets, so it can help you kind of swing some tempo and deal with those secrets and even use them to your advantage. Other than that, it's pretty much just how the rest of your deck having a reasonable strategy and banging your head against it over and over again until RNG does not screw you over. With that said, let's look at the specific decks I used for the specific classes. First up is Druid, where I went with a super aggressive Druid strategy, where you're playing out very cheap minions that produce other minions, like Fireflies, Bloodsail Corsair to pull patches, and then, innovate so you can get even more stuff out in those initial turns, and then you're going to buff them with your Power of the Wilds, your Mark of the Lotuses, and eventually once you've done a bit of damage, Savage Roar to do a bunch of burst damage to finish him off. You also have the Vicious Fledgling that if it goes unanswered can really just kind of take the game away in your favor. Snowball is the word I'm looking for. You have Mark of Yashraj to buff a couple of your things like Enchanted Raven and Vicious Fledgling, and Tar Creeper to help protect the rest of your board. Now if you do get in a bunch of damage and have him a little bit on the ropes but run out of steam, your refill cards are Bittertide Hydras to hope to be able to get in a big swing with that, or Living Mana to fill up your board. In the Hunter deck, I started to use that package I talked about of Saboteur, Eater of Secrets, and Khazan Mystics, which are just good utilities against Skelesaurus Hex. Otherwise, going with an early board presence deck, you have your cheap Alley Cats, Kindly Grandmothers, Scavenging Hyenas that you're hoping to buff, Glaive Zuka, back from Wild, a good card to buff with these things. The other tool you'll often see in these decks is ways to deal with a big overpowered minion early. So in the case of Hunter, you have your Deadly Shots, and you also have one finisher in the form of Call of the Wild to be able to just let you refill the board a little bit if you've made a lot of progress but run out of a threat towards the end. The Mage deck I built was a weird hybrid of sort of Freeze Mage but also with some tempo tools. So, you have your Frost Nova Doomsayers to clear the board, which are very important early on. You have your Mad Scientist pulling Mirror Entities, which you're hoping to get off on one of his 0-mana free things. In an ideal world, that comes out, you can kill it with something like a Meteor, or if you have Foe Reaper out, you can clear it as a result of hitting other stuff, and then you have a leftover big minion which can do a lot of damage to him. So you're looking to tempo him out while dealing with his secrets, Fireballs and Pyroblasts and Alexstrasas to finish him off, Flame Strikes to be able to clear the board, Double Meteor, because again it's going to be important if he gets a lot of free minions to be able to kill multiple things at once, Firelands Portal, good tempo tool, and Antonidas to be able to combo with a couple of spells to have a little bit more reach. The Paladin deck I built sort of has the secret Paladin shell with mysterious challenges, your shredders, your tempo tools like muster for battle, and obviously the secrets that go with it, with Secret Keeper to try run away with it a bit early on. But it has a few longer game tools, like you'll get your Tyrion out and Nazothet back for the extra reach that gives you, and maybe get a couple boom bots as well while you're at it. And the stranger one is that we actually run double Forbidden Healing, because you'll have those games where you just, took early damage from like some big thing he played early, which you finally recovered the board, but you're low. You'll want the ability to play around him, just drawing through his hero power into random burn. If you can, if you're low and just need that safety, if you can Forbidden Healing for 20, or even just a big chunk if you play something else with it that turn, that can be the difference between surviving and being able to finish him off or not. The Priest deck I used was a combo deck focusing on getting a minion to stick somewhere along the way, and then buffing its health with your Cabal Talon Priests, your Velen's Chosens, and eventually Divine Spiriting it in a fire and being able to do a lot of damage. It of course includes the package you've seen a bunch of times with Eater of Secrets, Khazan Mystic, Saboteur. Shadow or Death are critical to be able to deal with big early threats he can get out. You have a bunch of AoE in the form of Dragonfire Potions and Light Bombs and Holy Novas. A one of mind control, so that if you do get to the late game and he suddenly comes up with some crazy threat that's getting in your way, you can actually just steal it and get a very valuable 2-for-1 that can give you that final push you need, as well as Lyra to be able to combo with some spells to give you a bit of reach as well. Rogue, I again went with a strategy I often use against these crazy hard bosses, which is going all in on building up a huge questing adventurer or Edwin Van Cleef, pairing those with very cheap spells, your backstabs, your counterfeit coins, your preps to combo with and conceal them, cold-blooded for more damage, etc. Some tech tools in here, getting out an early Pit Snake on turn 1 can be a good way to just hedge your bets against some crazy big minion that he gets luckily on the first couple of turns. The other thing we do include the Eater of Secrets and Khazan Mystic to help with those tempo plays, so that you don't get your giant questing or Edwin frozen trapped at an inopportune moment. And gadgets on Auctioneers pair well with the very cheap spells you have to be able to cycle through your deck. Shaman is a weird hodgepodge of stuff. There's a bit of an elemental theme going on, but there's double evolve to be able to build a big board. Obviously pairs very well with Doppelgangster to be able to just instantly get out a pretty threatening board. Double devolve to deal with the crazy stuff he can come up with. Turn 2 Doomsayer can be great for forcing the board to be clear before you start playing out your own minions. 1 Healing Wave to give you a bit of extra heal. Nowadays, with the latest expansion, you could probably replace that with a Healing Rain. Lightning Storms for AoE, Volcanoes for AoE. We have the Eater of Secrets, Khazan Mystic part of the and Saboteur package. Hexes, obviously a tool for big threats that he suddenly puts out. Servants of Calamos, Fire Elemental, Blaze Caller, Calamos for a very value-focused elemental package, and Primordial Drake to give you a bit of extra AoE when you need it. The Warlock deck I used at the time was basically Handlock with room made for a few tweaks here and there. We include Khazan Mystics to deal with the secrets. And we're obviously looking to do something like get out cheap Molten Giants and then Argus them up or Sun Fury them up. They can activate the Ancient Watchers as well. You have several AoE tools in the form of Demon Wrath, Hellfires, and Shadow Flames to help you win back the board. Heal in the form of Antique Heal Bots. Big Game Hunters to deal again with his ability to just suddenly out of nowhere pull from his hero power some giant threat like, Yasharaj or something that risks completely running away with the game if you don't have an answer for it. And Alex Straza to help either, get him into range of killing him if you have Molten Giants out, or heal you back up if you did take too much damage early on. The Warrior deck that I thought wouldn't be good enough actually turned out to be good enough. It's running a Grim Patron theme. You have the patrons, lots of activators in the form of Whirlwinds, Ravaging Ghouls, Death Bites, and those act as potential activators for King Mosh as well to be able to clear out his board efficiently. Sleep with the Fishers works well to with those activators as well to damage minions. Also have Revengers in there, so if you do get low, you have an even bigger AoE opportunity. A Doomsayer on 2, again, great for just slowing him down. Obviously, you're going to use Execute to deal with those big threats, especially since you have a lot of activators. We have the Saboteur, Eater of Secrets, Kazan Mystic package, at least Starseeker, that if the game does go long, gives you a bit of reach. Brawl's great form of AoE. Primordial Drake's in there again to act as AoE for the small things he tends to play and bunch up. And Ysera and Deathwing give you additional win conditions if you need them. Last was the pretty challenging challenge of defeating him with a deck of basic and common cards only. And I went for a tempo-oriented deck. In the case of Mage, you're looking to get out early, Mana Worms, Mad Scientists to pull your mirror entities, Arcane Intellects to draw into things, Frost Novas to just stall him when you do have a board to be able to keep pushing face damage. You're going to look to burn him with your Fireballs. Your Firelands Portals can help you win you back tempo or just push face damage. Flame Strike, the same thing. You're going to want to be clearing out his board while you have minions present to just keep pushing face damage. What I found this often boiling down to really was whether you get your mirror entity off on a big threat, like one of his 0 mana things that he's playing early. If you can get a big mirror entity off on something and then polymorph it, you're way ahead and can really push a lot of damage. If, however, you're unlucky, the mirror entity ends up going off on something small, then you're going to struggle. It's a rough matchup because he's getting completely crazy overpowered stuff for 0 mana. Even if you're lucky for many turns in a row, eventually he'll pull that stuff from his hero power. So you do need to get lucky to get off the mirror entity, have polymorph, be able to, tempo him out a bit, take advantage of the luck when he does get some bad things from his hero power, and eventually push for the win with your burn like Fireballs and Firelands Portals. Good luck out there if you're trying it. Skelesaurus Hex, like I said, up there with my most hated bosses. Just so RNG heavy. Feels like there's so little strategy. Just hoping that he gets crappy things from his hero power instead of great 0 mana things. But these are decks which can take him out with every single class and even a deck of basic and common cards only. See you next time.